Okay, I'm gonna mute myself. You look beautiful.
Aw, thank you.
Okay,
I paid
Shay.
you to say that.
Oh, you did? Well,
No.
then make sure it's a
Yeah.
$100 bill.
Where's my money?
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Okay, I'm muting myself.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah, we're recording now. So, this is the Seniors Real Estate Specialist Networking Meetup Group. Just to iterate. JD, how are you doing?
I am good. How are you today, Julie?
Good, good. We're just kicking it. We're just kicking it. It's gorgeous weather here. So we have nothing to complain about,
Yeah, same here.
right? It's California.
Yep, not shoveling snow.
Amy, do you got snow? Did you get snow yet?
There is snow. There's snow, but I mean, we got some, and then it's just not snowed, and it's just really cold.
Is it
I know.
nothing
If
to
the
ski
East
on,
Coast could
right?
send some over, we'd
Yeah,
appreciate it. We need
yeah,
some good snow in Park City.
yeah. And I think, well, I haven't been paying attention, but the snow in Tahoe right now is probably the same as the snow in Park City. Sparse. Not a
Yeah,
good, not a good ski season
Yep.
yet.
right.
Hi, Amy.
Hi there. How is everyone?
Good. How are you?
Okay, a little sick today, so I'm gonna try to stick with it. But
Well,
Oh, geez.
I hope you get yourself better. Do you do emergency like the little supplement?
no, I've never done that. Is it
Oh, do it.
okay?
Do it.
I may have to.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got to or eat a couple of oranges, something.
that I do. I
Yeah.
do that a lot.
Perfect. There she is.
Hey, sorry. I was clicking on all the wrong buttons, I tell you. Nothing like clicking
Worries.
everything the wrong way. It's kind of crazy.
No worries.
Yeah, how's everybody doing? Bye, honey.
Great. Happy to be here.
What's that?
I said, great. Happy to be here. We're
Awesome.
excited to
That's the
hear
right
from you.
answer. There you go. I love that. That's great. That is great.
Katie,
Happy-
we're gonna get settled and then we are recording already. And let's see. We're going to spend the first couple of minutes. I just want to talk about, hi, Gregory. Hello,
Hello,
darling.
hello, hello. Happy Tuesday.
Well, that wasn't very romper room of me, was it? Um, spend a couple of minutes on welcoming, especially new people to our networking meetup group. And we have exciting things coming up. January already came and went. Like, how fast did January go?
Yeah.
Hello.
Out of the 2026 business plan?
We'll be in summer soon.
I know. I mean, the trees are already poofing.
Crazy.
So I just wanted to take a minute to review with everybody, welcome everybody, and just let everybody know that I so appreciate, and we all appreciate each other for being here every week. And to remind everybody that there is a lot of really valuable information and direction in the bulletin that goes with the email and the Zoom link every week. I want to highlight a couple things in the bulletin. And so if anything comes into your head, oh, Julie told me that I can get that information on page 3. And that is all the connections that we have available to us locally and nationally with SRES and then in our local affiliates. and our Facebook page and our LinkedIn page. And then if anybody has anything they'd like to share, you go to those outlets because you can add to the conversation all the time, anything, everything. So I encourage people to do that. I also wanted to highlight that's where all my contact information is. So if anybody has any needs or wants or questions or ideas or want to present, all of my information is right there and readily available. And this week I went to a new construction development, a 55 and over resort in Lathrop, which is in the San Joaquin Valley. So this is going to be one of the pillars of my seniors real estate specialist business is 55 and over resort new construction. Also resale, because I do have some 55 and over developments that are older and that they are starting to have resales. So we're going to have a focus on that. It's going to be one of the pillars of my business. And so if anybody's interested in that pillar of seniors real estate business, let me know. And here's my mantra. This is what I always tell people. They have inventory. Inventory. Right, Katie? They have stuff to sell.
You got stuff to sell. That's right. A lot.
They have units to sell. And inventory is what we need. It's a much more longer, difficult path for a resale than it is for new construction. Developers are a whole nother, creature, but that's okay. We can handle it. We're good. So I just wanted to highlight that. Also, next week. Hi. Hey,
Is that me?
Carol Sue.
Oh my God, I didn't know you could see me. Let me turn the music down. I'm so sorry.
She's partying.
Oh my.
Okay, so next week and once a month,
Hi.
doing this for about 10 months now, is my market makers group. Once a month. And it's basically marketing on purpose. So it's all the things that we're supposed to be doing as real estate professionals, and all kinds of service professionals, because we do have affiliate professionals in our group that we team up with, right? So marketing on purpose, market makers. I've been doing that now for about 10 months. Next week is market makers. Next week, we're having a very special guest, Amy and Gary. They are going to join us. We're going to do an informational webinar on a whole new platform, a whole new marketing idea, and a whole new concept. I'm going to let Amy say a couple things, and then Gary, and then and I have the flyer went out in the email too, and I'll have another one as well. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Julie. We're super excited to have this invitation to come next week and present. The Seniors Agent Success Program is about supporting agents who care deeply about serving seniors well. And next week, we'll share the vision behind Seniors Agent Success, the tools and exposure it provides, and how it's designed to help agents who've earned the SRES designation, but may feel like they've been spinning their wheels a little bit, by offering clear direction and practical next steps and ongoing guidance and support to help agents gain real traction in their senior focused business and not feel like you're doing it by yourself. It also helps agents who do have established seniors businesses. We've got a television stream and a national directory and social media and marketing assets that we provide. And we're super excited to be introducing Julie as the host to our newest television segment.
Wow.
Yes, it's
That's
super
great.
exciting. She's going to be the star.
She
Senior
is our
Solution
star.
segments. Yep. So
Right on.
yeah, that's it. We're excited to see. I hope you all come and join us next week. So thanks, Julie.
Thank you. I'm excited. It's going to be a pretty big deal, and we're going to make it a big deal. That's the thing. We're going to put the effort into it. We're going to get the marketing going, marketing on purpose. So look out for more information on that. And then if anybody has any questions and want to contribute any type of suggestions, just contact me. All of that is in the bulletin. Hi, Anne. How are you? Hi, Sandra.
Hello.
And Roni's here. And Carlos is
Yeah,
here.
how are you?
Yes, yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Sandra. Hello.
Hello, thank you. I
Hello,
am so
darling.
excited to be able to join you guys again
Thank you.
today.
I'm excited that you're here.
Yeah.
All right, we are so privileged today to have Katie, our local colleague in the seniors real estate specialist space. And Katie has come to the real estate industry from the senior economy industry. And now she has done what we're all doing, combining the two to serve our senior homeowners and the families of senior homeowners. So Katie is going to let us know all about the business that she's created in the seniors real estate space and her senior placement. So senior placement, and for those that don't have, better understanding of senior placement, Katie's going to help us out with that. So I'm going to let you go ahead and get started. Thank you.
All right, great. Julie, can I share my screen? Is that
Yes.
possible?
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
I got to hit the button.
You gotta hit that button.
Hit the button.
Awesome. Let's see. Great. And
There we go.
Share, and then we'll go to here and we'll go to there. All right, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. You might hear my dogs at some point. So my name's Katie Cooney, and I am a certified senior advisor, and I have a company called Hand in Hand Senior Placement. The most important thing that people are looking for when they're seniors and transitioning out of their home, of course, is finding what the right place for them is and truly what matters to them the most. My background is in high tech, startups. Then I went into the nonprofit. I became an instant stepmom to a young child 24/7. So needed to get a job that I could be home after school. So did that for many years. And then I wanted to go into sales, and in a roundabout kind of way, found myself applying at Sunrise Senior Living in Palo Alto, now called Ivy Park, Palo Alto. Little did I know in a very short amount of time that this would become a hotbed, if you will. I'm going to close this down just a little bit so I can see you guys too at the same time. Little did I know at that time that I would be entering into a real hotbed of activity. I joined in 2019, and by the time it was the 30th of January, about this time in 2020, I was in Los Angeles finishing up some training. And my friend, when I went to LA to hang out for the weekend, looked at me and said, do you want to use this mask on the plane? And I thought, I don't want to be dramatic, but yeah, I'll take the mask. And then when I got home in February, things started, as we all remember, the Johns Hopkins maps online. We could see the spread of COVID globally. And I kept a big track of that. I love data. I love following trends. And then fast forward to the middle of March, and we were officially, quote unquote, shutting down our senior living, which included independent, assisted, and memory care. We kept going as normal until then we got the news that everybody has to start isolating in their rooms. So I came from this background, and when my mom called me in March and said, you're getting out of there, aren't you? I said, nope, it's a house on fire, and I'm exactly where I want to be. My experience in life has taught me how to manage these kind of situations. I went to Cal Poly for an undergrad in human development. Then I went to St. Mary's College and got a master's in counseling psych. And then I went back and got an MBA in global business. I'm a CSA. I work for Intero for real estate. Halfway through, not even halfway through, I think it was in 2020, anybody who worked in the healthcare industry was heavily advised, do not associate with other people. Go home, take off your clothes outside, go in, take a shower. And that was that. So I decided to take online classes in real estate. It was something I was interested in. And it was surprisingly a really big question I had to ask people when I sat down with them when they were looking for a place to live. Do you own your own home? Because the senior living community expected you to sell your home to pay for the cost of senior living. I'll get back to that more. So studied for a year, crammed for a month, took the test in Oakland in 2021, passed it, and went back to work the next day for another 3 years. Absolutely love working with the seniors. I never thought any job could be so fulfilling. Now, then I opened my own placement agency for a couple of reasons. I had women that would come in and they would be devastated that their husband had dementia. And I would ask them, what's your budget? Because I want to know how much people could spend. Because I was proposing a $20,000 a month for her husband solution. Well, it turns out she said, I don't have that kind of money, but I own a home in Cupertino and I'm willing to sell it. And I said, let's have another discussion. And this is all in the vault. So I got up and I closed the door and I said, what can you afford? I mean, if you didn't have to sell your house through Social Security, through savings, stocks, all that kind of stuff, how much money a month could you afford? And she said, probably about $10,000. I said, okay, terrific. I turned the piece of paper over and I wrote down 3 different other places that she could go to get care for her husband. And I said, number 1, don't sell your house. You will pay capital gains. This will be a disaster for you. And your husband might live another 5 years. And you're looking at almost $250,000 a year on this. I said, who's going to take care of you when you get old? Because she was younger than her husband. Fast forward 6 months later, never saw her again, told my company that she couldn't afford the solution. Came back, hardly recognized her. She had on some sunglasses. She wasn't upset anymore. And she had a little gift bag in her hand. And she said, I want to tell you that you were the only person to tell me not to sell my house. I took your advice and put my husband into one of those places you suggested, and he passed away 4 months later. And if I would have listened to everybody else, I wouldn't have a house right now. So it was just a really big wake-up call to me that the first solution shouldn't be to get rid of your only asset. And what I do when I started my company is I have my own methodology. So I draw from my business experience, I draw from my counseling experience, and I draw a huge part from working in the communities. So you can see this as a Venn diagram, and really when it works for a senior is when you can find the sweet spot in the middle. You understand the location they want to live in. And sometimes this is educating people that you can't find a 1-bedroom apartment in downtown Palo Alto. And people get really upset about that. And because they grew up there their whole life, but I've got some ways how to handle that. I also look at their budget. I also see if there's any other resources they might tap into, like aid and attendance through the VA. But the big one that I really go after with families is what we'll call care, but that's really a heading. The subset is what's going on with this person. I just interviewed a couple that was in Murphy's, and I found out that the husband's bedbound. He's blind from macular degeneration. He can't really hear. The wife is taking care of him. She was a pharmacist. But when you hear the words bedbound, the first thing that should come to your mind is skin breakdown. If someone's laying in a bed all day and they need to be turned often, they might have skin breakdown in their backside, especially on their bottom area. And the other thing, the wife reassured me that she looks at it every day and this is great. And then I said the one thing a lot of people, most senior placement people don't know. I said, what about his feet? Does he have any pressure wounds? And she looked down and she looked up at me and she said, he actually does. I didn't check his feet very often, but I checked them the other day and the feet have pressure wounds. So then I have to think to myself, okay, what kind of wound are they? Are they staged 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5? Because that'll make all the difference in where I can recommend and place someone. So a really detailed intake has to be done. Budget, location, those can be fluid a bit, but care is absolutely essential to understand what's going on if they have a disease, what's their disease progression, what's their skin look like, do they have any behaviors? There's a lot of things that I've learned over the years that are invaluable. And I was just going to ask you guys, here's a little question. How many people in the United States turn 65 every day? You can just shout it out.
10,000.
That's right. 10,000 people, if you can believe that. And how many people think that our senior living communities, hospitals, skilled nursings are prepared?
Oh, yeah, they are.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's ready for this. So if you can imagine, by 2040, 1 in 5 Americans will be 65. And 56% of those turning 65 is going to need some kind of long-term service. The senior care industry is growing very quickly. We all see it in the Bay Area, all these towers going up. The last one is one of the most interesting ones to me, though. Currently, over 70 million family caregivers provide in-home care, with millions more searching for solutions. Now, guess how many hours unpaid caregivers for a family member, friend, grandparent? Do you have any idea how many hours in last year, how many hours these unpaid caregivers got? How about the tune of $19.4 billion is what would have been put into the economy that people who were at home taking care of their loved ones didn't realize any of that because they have to stay home, they can't work, and they have to be a full-time caregiver. So here's another thing most of my job, I will be frank and say, it's a lot about education. It is a lot about counseling. And when I talk about a client, my client is the senior. My client is not the adult children. My client is to help give a voice to that senior and make sure they're getting what they want. And I like to explain to adult children because they often feel like, oh, my mom's got dementia. It's really bad. And I'll ask them about that. Hold on 1 second. Sorry. I've got my puppies at home. So I will ask them, tell me a little bit more about sorry about that. I will ask the family member to tell me about what's going on. And then what I do, I go and visit my client, my senior, to see exactly. I want to talk to them myself. I want to do my own assessment of their home, what they look like, how they're understanding things, because they will get a MOCA. And that is a score that they give older adults to see if they're tracking and they have any mental deficit. But as far as natural changes go with age, your vision, your hearing, people get arthritis, they have health issues, they could have weight changes, They could have problems with their balance. But really what we want to look for are sudden changes in personality, cognition, depression, anxiety, agitation, and loneliness. Any sudden changes in those, that's a red flag with someone you love. And it typically means that I would take them to the doctor. Usually when you have kind of behavioral changes like this, they could have something as simple as a urinary tract infection, which presents very differently when you're older than it does when you're younger. So just remember in the back of your head, if you have clients where they just seem like, wow, that was a real swing, that probably means they need to see a physician and check that out. So what I do is I try to explain to people all the options they have. And one of them is aging in place, which means, hey, you can stay in your place. 90% of people stay in their homes. They will get outside care to come in. They'll have somebody come in to make their house better for falls. So picking up those throw rugs, grab bars, really the only 2% of people living right now, I don't know what it's going to be like in 2040, go into assisted living or memory care. It's not like everybody goes into this. Number one, it's really expensive. Number two, people like to have their own social life. They like to be around their own stuff. Average age when you go into senior living is 84. Now, then I explained to them what a CCRC is, a continual care retirement community, and what a 55 plus community, exactly what Julie was just talking about. And I saw that brochure, Julie, and it's a Del Webb. Del Webb was one of the first real estate companies to build these 50,000 people can live in Sun City. And they've got everything from pickleball, the pools, the sports. It's kind of like a little bit like the Villages down in San Jose, but just huge. And people go into those and they can age in place for quite a long time. But once they need care, they typically bring in care or they move. I'm working with a client right now. He lives in a Del Webb property in Palm Desert. He's 91. His partner's also 91, but they're getting to that age where they're still lucid, but the body's not doing as well. And the brother who's up here wants to move them closer to the Bay Area. So there's more what we call a continuum of care. So if you start out in an independent living community, then if you need assistance, the assistance there. If you need memory care, then you can transition into memory care. Again, aging in place is where you're maintaining your independence as long as you can. I tell people, stay at home as long as you can, get some help to come in. But when you're no longer safe at home, that's the time to go. And I will tell you, most of my clients or their adult children will say something like this: Mom had a fall. Now she's kind of scared to stay by herself. I have a client like this. We want to start looking. She's never said she'd go to a community before. And what that says to me is, oh no, this was just a big fall. She most likely has tripped in the past. I bet she has fallen before, but this time she fell and she couldn't get up. And that is what scared her the most. So falls happen quick. And 30% of the time, they're just a decline from there. Aging in place, you have, I say the home inspection. I have a person who can do that. I've got partners that do in-home care. I know about day programs for dementia and Alzheimer's. I can suggest Meals on Wheels, but you need a plan. That's what I tell people. You need a plan. So with a home safety inspection, again, the biggest thing that people risk are these falls. Maybe their shoes aren't properly the right size anymore. They've got throw rugs. They've got cords from computers or television sets. Their hearing aids have to be charged. It's just a host of things that can go wrong. Also, you want to make sure that, like everybody, I do this on January 1st, you change those batteries in the fire alarms. And then there's a whole host of new devices, which are awesome. So you have the handrails, and then you see the bed in the middle. That is a cushion that keeps the airflow, and that will help reduce any kind of skin deterioration, bed sores, pressure sores. And then, of course, on the right, you have the devices like Life Alert, which I'm a huge fan of Life Alert. I think they're great. The only thing is, I tell seniors this every day, only works if you put it on. A lot of seniors get them and they take them off and they leave them by the bedside, the kitchen. Does you no good when you're in the bathroom. Now, in-home care, there's a lot of good in-home care agency, but I will tell you, the hardest thing about in-home care is we have these little devices called smartphones. And smartphones are so much more entertaining than sitting with a senior and trying to figure out how to engage with them. Sometimes I hear from seniors, yeah, they came, they tidied up a little bit, and then they just talk on their phone to people, or I'm watching TV and they're on their phone. And that's hard. That's hard for seniors because that makes an awkward situation for them. But they can come in and they can do all the activities of daily living. They can feed you. This is the ultimate what you want. You want someone who's going to provide companionship for your loved one, who will engage with them, figure out what they like, take a walk, talk about their memories, go around their house and look at all their treasures. And if you hear the story every week, well, that's where they're at, and you just meet them there. So there's always these ideas of in-home care versus community. What's safer? Everybody thinks, oh no, in-home care is the only way to go. But then you become a manager of sorts. Okay. And I believe in-home care can work if you've got the right caregivers and the right mix. It's awesome. But even if that right caregiver, for some reason, their child calls in, their child has to stay home from school, or their child got the chicken pox, or heck, the child has COVID, or you have COVID, and the staffing agency is really overburdened. This happened to me 2 weeks ago with a family. I set out 6 different tours on 3 different ways from Morgan Hill to Union City to Santa Cruz. And when I got to Morgan Hill and our tour started at 9:30. I got there at 8:45 because I always want to be there before my client. I like to talk to the salesperson. I like to see them in person and give them all the information. Already done it in a referral, but I want to update them if they've had anything that's changed. I want to point out what's most important to the family that I want them to spend more time on. Well, the caregiver never showed up, and they were in San Mateo. So had to do a little shuffling and say, okay, well, let's go for our 12 o'clock back in San Jose. Well, they called me at 10 and said, okay, they're sending another caregiver. They can't find out where that guy went. And then the next caregiver couldn't be there till 1 o'clock. So I waited for them for an hour at the other community. They couldn't make that. So I had to reshuffle all of the tours in the next 2 days. And we picked up again. So the point being is you're going to have call-offs at home. If you're in a home setting, you're going to have call-offs in the community. The difference is the community usually has a pool of trusted people they can call on, or people can also work a double shift. So it's one's not better than the other, but the other thing that I will tell you is in-home care, what typically happens is people stay at home as long as they can. I've dealt with several people who have done reverse mortgages, and they pay in-home care to the tune of, the lowest I've ever heard is 35. The highest client I knew paid $75,000 a month out of pocket for in-home care. So yeah, it's really kind of what people can afford. Assisted living and memory care, this is like the great side of it. I like to say when I worked in the communities, and I say now, it's kind of like being on a cruise ship. You can get care, you can get medication management, you can do activities. There's 3 meals a day. Some have all day dining. Some will do all the housekeeping. Some will do your personal laundry, all do your linen, because a lot of people as they age can't pull the sheets off of their bed because they have neuropathy. And they have happy hour once a week. They have mocktails and cocktails. And as you know, these communities are popping up in any tiny patch of green around the valley. It is kind of a race because the senior living industry has been anticipating the silver tsunami for a very long time. It has become very incredibly competitive, and they want your business. And part of my job is all the years I've worked in senior living and memory care, I know who's in the buildings managing them, and I know who the salespeople are. I often know who the caregivers are, and I know what kind of care they're providing in those communities. I know who's thriving, and I know who's struggling. And that information, that inside information for me is priceless, because if I move somebody into a place and it's not working, and I tell you I've done this before, I've called the family and said, get your person out of there immediately. And I will tell you, I've worked with these people for a year, and I gave back the referral fee. Or in another situation, I didn't even take a referral fee because I was going into the community at nights to see if the guy was well taken care of because his wife couldn't do it. And what I saw was I was leading the pack in the activities at night. I was keeping my clients safe. I knew he would have a catastrophic fall and have a brain bleed and not make it. So again, it's good to know where people are safe, and you have to have a moral compass to say, you're going to go back in and check on people. You're going to check up with your clients. This is a 80-hour-a-week job. I'm fortunate that I have this group and I have Intero, that I need to partner with people, because I can't do real estate full time and do this 80 hours a week. And as I was saying, all of these communities might look alike. They might all tell you that they have the same things. One's going to tell you this, the other's going to tell you that. But I like to say I'm a translator. I hear what they're saying, but I know what they can provide. And I'm very transparent with families. And sometimes they don't take my advice. They don't take it. And then I'll tell you what happens. They call me up 2 months later and say, this is not working out. Can we go look at someplace else? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely we can. Yeah. So CCRCs, what Julie was talking about, they're building these things. And I tell you, more people are retiring younger. Pardon me, some of my former sales colleagues that are younger than me are retiring. And these 55 plus places look great. You've got the Forum in Cupertino, you have the V, and then you have the 55 plus. I will say about the Forum and the V, those are buy-in communities, and they sometimes have backdoor availability. And backdoor availability means they have vacancies they want to fill. But that's not the normal way they do it. They want you to spend $2 or $3 million to buy in when you're young, when you're healthy, and then you pay on top of that every month. And if you have a decline and you need help, then you move to assisted living. If you need memory care, then you move to memory care. If you need skilled nursing, you go to either long-term skilled nursing, or you can be in short-term post-acute rehab. The problem is the people who have gone into the V and the people who have gone into the Forum and the Sequoias, what's happened is they bought in 30 years ago. They bought in 20 years ago. All those people who were independent, now they're seeing a surge that they need the assisted living and the memory care and the skilled nursing beds. So very hard to get in there. Very, very hard. I call all the time, and I know people who live in all of them. And so I get good stories from them, how things are going, which is it's good to know somebody on the inside. But they have a lot of great stuff. They're supportive, they're engaging. You can age in place and maintain being active and having a great lifestyle. They have, again, gyms, pools, tennis courts. They have all this stuff. They're kid free, they're low maintenance. They're people who are younger that want to be in an adult community. They don't want to do the lawn. They don't want to do all the maintenance around the house. They want to have fun. They want to meet other people. And people generally, I think, really love them as long as you're healthy. So aging better. One thing that communities do provide when you're in a community is a sense of safety and security for my seniors, but also for their adult children. I have many of them that live on the East Coast, and they know they can check in. If their mom's not answering the phone, typically they would call me next. I would go find the parent or tell them, hey, turn on your hearing aids. Your daughter's calling you. Or they can call the front desk and say, hey, is my mom out on an activity? Gives them a chance to meet other people. It's very lonely being at home. Isolation and loneliness is a silent killer. I'm just telling you. People go downhill. I always say this, we're pack animals. We're supposed to be with other people. And plus you get the services. You get your meals done. You've got a nurse on staff. If you can't remember when to take all your medications, sometimes it gets complicated. And sometimes it's really essential that you take your medication on a full stomach, sometimes not. If you have Parkinson's, you really need your Parkinson medication within a very specific window, or you will start getting the symptoms. And there's nothing more discouraging to someone who has Parkinson's to not get their medication within this very short time frame. I will tell you, by law, senior living communities, memory care, by law, they have a 4-hour window. If it says you need to take it at 8, they have a 4-hour window when they can give that to you. So you need to develop a relationship with the med techs, with the nurse, especially again with something like Parkinson's, or if you have a client that has dementia, any kind of dementia. There's a lot of different kinds. Alzheimer's is one kind of dementia. You need to have your medication so you don't start experiencing the behaviors of sundowning. Maintenance free, they'll take you to your doctor's appointments, they'll take you to Target, they'll even take you to a family member's house. They're pretty open and available to transporting people where they want to go. And then your apartment provides you with privacy, again, peace of mind for your family, and you have an opportunity to learn and grow. They have programs that are interesting. And I actually think they could make them more interesting if you want to know the truth. But before you move, now this is like the intersection. I will tell you, some of your clients may be still living at home. They have all these ideas what they think a community living is because they saw their parents or their grandparents in a home for the elderly. I'll be honest with you. I went to one in New York where my grandfather was. He had a traumatic brain injury, and I have some of my most vivid memories are going into this big home in New York that was made for older people, and it was slightly intimidating as a child. I'm not going to beat around the bush. People had dementia, but we didn't really know. We called it senile. We thought it was a normal part of aging, which it's not. And I grew up in a neighborhood when I was a kid with a lot of old neighbors, and I used to visit them, bring them Mayday baskets, and I could see their decline. But one of the hardest things for seniors to do, does anybody know before the move what the hardest part is? Anybody got a guess? Bueller?
Just
Okay.
letting go of their house.
Letting go of their house.
Decluttering.
Clutter, junk, stuff, overloaded. So it's kind of shocking, and it will be completely overwhelming. Families say to me, Katie, there's 60 years worth in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,900 square foot house in Palo Alto, Byron Park. And they're like, how do we go through all that? And I just tell people straight up, you don't. What you're going to do is you're going to have your loved one, you're going to get what they need, which is clothing. Bring the good stuff, not the stuff that you're saving, not the sweater that has 10 holes in it. You want to look nice for their dignity. You want to bring the 5 things by law. You need a bed, a nightstand, a lamp, a chair, and a dresser. Okay, those are 5 things by law. Most senior living communities do not provide the furniture. You have to absolutely bring those. And then you want to bring, I always tell this, lots of photographs of whatever's on the wall of their family. I even tell people who have memory loss, take a picture of where that person sits most of the day, and they're usually looking at a television set, but there's usually some other stuff around it. And what you want to do is you want to see if you can redo that. Take a picture and then take all those items and put it back in the room on a wall where they'll face again. So it gives them sort of a sense of belonging. And because it's disruptive I'll tell you, it's disruptive the first few weeks for some people. They really kind of have to adapt to a new environment. But I'm telling you, all that stuff in the house, you feel overwhelmed, you feel isolated, and you've got all these emotional attachments, like this was great, Mary, somebody's. None of the kids want this stuff. And when I grew up with a mom who was an art dealer, and I mean, if you use your phone right now, Google Lens, you can find out what's worth what. Now, I try to stay out of that because even though I do know what stuff is worth, that's not what my expertise is. And I don't want to put that as an expertise. That's when I call in my auction people. That's when I call in my estate sale people. They come in and do that. But most of them, I will tell you, don't want to do that until they've gotten most of the clutter out of the house. And that's where my other partners come in. I have people who that are wonderful, and they're moving. They can pack stuff up. They can help you get rid of things to Goodwill if you want. They can help you donate things if you want. It takes a team to do all of this, and it's really important, in my opinion. I try to just do what I do because I know I do it well. And I let my colleagues, I call them my partners, they do what they do. And so far it's worked out to be a really good experience. You can see that on the top, everybody wants that. They want their family moments, want to volunteer, make memories, instead of pushing your stuff around all over. And you know what? That's a huge fall risk. All that right there. It's kind of terrifying. But people have a hard time letting go. And just some more statistics. Up until age 45, most Americans have moved more than 7 to 9 times. I don't know about you, but I grew up and my mother was married to my father for 24 years and moved 27 times. So I pretty much went to a different school almost every grade. It was kind of exciting. So, but moving's not fun. It's a lot of packing up. And the move managers are the people, they have plans to do this. They understand what the strategy is. They're not willy-nilly. They understand what to do, and they work with the senior or the family. They don't come in and just start boxing stuff up and throwing stuff out. There's the total emotional element that they're trained and educated in. Most people don't want to talk about any of this stuff because they're afraid of losing their things. People get upset. They think, oh, you just want me to get out of this house to the adult child so you can sell it. And then they get really dug in. And most of it is fear. They're afraid to go someplace. And they feel like they're losing some part of themselves. Like you said, their house is something they worked for their whole life, something that was the American dream. It's where they raised their kids. It's where everything significant happened in their life. And now you're saying, let it go. And, one strategy is you take pictures of everything. The other, it's not really a strategy. It's a reality that they're not safe there anymore and they can't get the care they need. And once they really, truly, deeply understand that, things move along pretty quickly. Yeah, and change is stress. For sure. Anxiety, people feel overwhelmed. Again, that's why the move managers are great. That's why people hire me, because I can walk them through it. I can explain things, tell them what's going to be on the horizon to get their paperwork ready now. And if they have any awkward questions about who's the power of attorney, or maybe that needs to change, or mom is still lucid and she doesn't have a physician's ordered life sustaining treatment plan, a pulse, you need to get one. This whole experience can cause people to have a lot of feelings, and those can come out physically, somatically. Third difficult thing to do in life is move. Stressful events usually are, when we all were, did college or got married or first job, midlife crisis. But you can see between midlife crisis and retirement, there needs to be one more block that says move to a community. And you know what? That's just not as fun. It's not as fun to think your first child has grandchildren, or you're worried about money because you have no way of making more money. And maybe you've lost your husband or wife or partner. Those things are sad. So it's really the relationships that you can find, whether it's at home or with a caregiver in the house. But we need to be with each other. It really makes such a huge. I've had some people say, God, if I knew this was going to be this much better in a community, I should have moved years ago. Because then you're not cleaning, you're not doing all that, and you get some connection. Again, what matters the most, and asking people what's their ideal community or life look like. I will tell you, I had that same family that's up in Murphy's. They sent me a spreadsheet of places that were all the most expensive places you can live in the Bay Area and in California, at the tune of probably for them what they needed, 20 to 25,000, 30,000 a month. They had no idea, and they want to spend under 10. So a lot of my job, this is all about cluttering, you guys, but a lot of my job is educating people. Again, the 80-20 rule: get rid of 80% of the stuff and take 20 with you. And get somebody in who knows what your stuff is worth, and get a tax write-off. And all these good things. So again, what I do is I talk at a lot of the senior centers. My services are free. I partner with Deidre Giz, who works for a law firm in Campbell. I partner with Mary Alden, who does life transition. She's also a death doula, which is a wonderful thing, and I don't think enough people know about it. I do a lot of tables at events just to talk to people and create resources for them. And I do some one-on-one, I like to say. I don't say it's counseling, but it's teeters between a counseling and a coaching. I haven't really figured out what to charge for that. But when people get stuck and they're in old patterns, I kind of come in and I educate them and I inform them and I tell them, this is what you need to start doing and this is what you need to stop doing. And people find it pretty helpful. And I rely so much on partners. I've got a guy that knows all the low income places. When people are calling me crying, saying, my mom makes $2,200 a month. She's got dementia. She's getting kicked out of this place. We don't know what to do. I could take her in with me. And then I just call this guy, Ryan, that I know, and he can get her into a residential care for $2,000 a month. And it's a relief because most people can't afford $12,000 a month.
We need Ryan. I want Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan's cool. I will tell you, it's how this all works with different professionals. I'm just gonna finish this, and I'll tell you that you want to embrace what your particular expertise is. I can't say this enough. It is really hard to be a jack of all trades. And I'll tell you, the only reason why I'll tell you this is I've been there before. I go like 20 extra steps, 20 extra miles. When someone calls me from LA, Dad has dementia, I recommend the day program. And then I recommend in-home care. My partners are on it. And then I get a call from the son that says the in-home care people won't come back to the apartment because it is like a hoarder's paradise. They don't feel safe. What am I going to do? Well, that's when I call up cleaning people and I say, here's the address. I'm going to meet you there at 9 o'clock. I ask the son where the key is. I open and then I just start photographing everything, survey everything. And then I kind of get a lay of the land. I see if there's any kind of carport, garage locked that we can take 80% of the stuff to. And then I talk to the cleaning people of this is what I want done. And then I go do a tour. I come back 4 hours later. I make sure, you know, it all looks great. And I send pictures again of everything, call the son. Okay, this looks great. The cleaning people go back in. He's set up with his day program. The cleaning people now can do light housekeeping. He stayed there for another year. And then he ended up, he just wasn't safe for him anymore at home. So I found a place that would be a perfect fit. I also early in this relationship looked over all his long-term care paperwork. I'm not an expert in long-term care, but I'm pretty good at giving my take on it with the disclosure of you need to talk to a financial person. And people don't even know how good their long-term care is. And there's nothing better than saying, this is really great. You get $15,000 a month, unlimited. Can't even get that policy anymore. But embrace your expertise, utilize technology, and for goodness sakes, always keep learning. I'm just getting my certified dementia practitioner certification. So there's always things to learn. But this is what you're really selling. This is what you're exchanging with your people. And I cannot say this enough. If you don't have trust, if you don't build trust with your senior and your family, it just falls apart. Just doesn't work. Trust is what the exchange is. It's not the house. It's not getting them into a community. It's not the caregivers. It's trust in you that you are going to help me get through this. During the pandemic, when people had family and we had COVID-19 hit the building, we were able to keep it off as long as we almost got through a year without COVID. And then the usual thing, one of our residents sent to Stanford. They sent her back and said, she tested negative. We put her back in the room and like 5 hours later, now you got to understand, caregivers are doing rounds. We're passing food. We're trying to keep things clean. Stanford calls back and says, I hate to tell you this, but she's actually positive. And so we all knew like, okay, this is what we've trained for a year. And I tell you, when I had people tell me, oh, it's just like the flu. It's just like the common cold. I even had some people say, oh, they're old. They're going to die anyway. But when you watch people that you love and their loved ones don't come in and you fill in for those loved ones to be there in someone's last moments of life, so they're not alone, dying of a disease that is spreading around the world. That's a big deal. And you have to have a certain amount of trust with somebody to sit there with them in their final moments. It was quite powerful experience. So now I just want to open it up to Q&A. If anybody's any questions, I am more than happy. Thank you for listening.
I put a question in the chat. You mentioned, I know there's a lot of family members that take care of their adult loved ones, whatever. Does the state have programs where they'll pay people to stay home and take care of those? I know different states, or I've heard of different things like that.
Yeah, there's it's IHHS, something like this. It's a program through the government where they will pay you kind of minimum wage, a little bit better than minimum wage to stay home with your loved one. I think it also depends on how much care that they need. I had a friend who had a dad that was in the living room. He was on a ventilator for 8 years, and they paid $40 for 40 hours a week care for him. But it sure didn't cover at night, when you had to suction the lungs and suction, it's kind of a good deal in the sense on the government because right now the government is taking away covered California went away. A lot of seniors insurance went up dramatically, as did their medications. They're cutting back on Medi-Cal, which was a massive safety net for low-income seniors, and they really don't have anywhere to go. So a lot of people say the conferences that I go to, oh, they'll go to the emergency room. They'll go to the emergency room. I'm telling you, if every senior ends up in an emergency room, they can't handle it. The hospitals can't handle it. They're not long-term care facilities. They are acute care, and then you get out. They're not chronic care. But yeah, you can do that. For now, it's still going.
David, you could check with SourceWise too. They could recommend some people.
Yep. How about Avery?
Hi. Firstly, thank you so much. This is I've gone to several presentations by agents before, and you shared a lot of insight that now I'm thinking like, why didn't they share this? So
Yeah.
this has been very helpful. One thing that I was wondering if you could shed some light and explain a bit about what we should be aware of or should be advising clients on in terms of what to expect about fee agreements between the agents and the communities, because I know that people sometimes they go to a place for mom and then they get all these phone calls from homes and marketing directors, and then they go to the placement agent, and sometimes the placement agents are like, I can't help you because you've already started making contact with them.
Yeah, I mean, that is okay. So here's the thing with a place for mom. A place for mom is not interested actually in you getting a hold on one second. My dogs are freaking out.
Dog day afternoon.
Is there a way to go on the slide with her contact information again? Sorry. Or
So Lynn, on page 1 of the bulletin, I put the QR code that you can get to Katie, and then of course we'll have more contact information in next week's bulletin as well.
I put my email in there. I will get back to Avery's question. A place for mom is not really interested in you landing someplace. They are interested in getting your data. And what happens is when I was in the communities, I got to the point where I'd asked a place for mom. So let me ask you, when one of them asked me, is San Mateo by Santa Monica, are those pretty close? Could I recommend those communities? And I said, absolutely you can. That's great. I mean, it's just a hop to Santa Monica. And I said to them, can I ask you where you're sitting today? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm in Michigan. I go, gotcha. What happens is when you go on that website, Avery, the thing I tell people, you click through those buttons, you just signed a document. You just got into a legal contract with a place for mom. You have shut down. Think of it this way. If you broke your leg, would you want a paramedic in Michigan, or would you want a paramedic in San Jose that can come to your house, talk to you, walk you through it, instead of being on a cell phone going, yeah, so now take a splint. The difference is they get your information, you're in a contract, they hang up the phone, and the phone for your client never stops ringing. And every single one of them, they're going to get texts, they're going to get phone calls, they're going to be sent videos and websites, come for lunch, it is absolutely overwhelming. When I was in the communities and I'd get a place for mom, our manager would be like, call him right now. And I'd say, no, I'm going to wait till tomorrow. I'd call him the next day and I'd say, so how's the phone going? Off the hook? And they would be like, oh my God. So the way that, if they do it that way, they're going to have a lot of people calling them. And I will tell you, I've had people call me and they'll say to me, I did go with a place for mom. and one of my partners will call me and say, hey, Katie, this guy really needs some help. And I'll say, okay, I know the perfect place. I'll call the community. And they'll say to me, Katie, that was sent in by a place for mom. And I'll say, that's okay. I'm still going to come. I will still come. So I still go with a client. And I help them understand what they're getting into. Yeah, I might not get paid, but is it the right thing to do? Yeah, it's the right thing to do. There are some ways around it. People can write a letter if they want to engage with me to send to a place for mom. But I tell you, the place for mom already has contracts with every community. So then it's on the community to say, do we want to play Katie and pay a place for mom? But I'll be honest with you, I still help people even if they call it a place for mom. I don't turn people away when they need help and they're not getting the help they need from a place for mom. Yeah, I just, it's such a vulnerable time for people. And it's kind of like saying, and I'm not saying I'm a doctor, but if you walked into some place and you're like, you have a concierge physician, I'm an ER doc, you call them, I'm not going to help you. You got to help people, man. I mean, this is a job that you got to help people. I mean, they're coming to you because they're in pain of some sort. And I feel a moral obligation to help people. And you know what? I tell people, let me worry about a place for mom. And I have great relationships with communities. And a lot of times they're like, Katie, we know you're going to bring us somebody of quality. We know you're going to spend a lot of time with them. We'll work something out. And work something out means I make half of what I did. I'll make something, but you never know. I believe in good karma and that it goes around. Being a good person and you're helping people and you're not turning people away. A lot of senior placement people go, oh God, you have no money? Click, call this person. I get satisfaction. So anyway, if your clients are thinking about going, that's the best time to call me because number one, I never give out anybody's email or phone number. I don't give out client information to any community. They all have to go through me unless my client wants them to call them. When my client has made a decision on the community, I ask my client, may I give your information, your phone number, your email address to the salesperson? I put it in writing because I'm serious about it. Your data should not be in every single community like a place for mom does because it will live there forever.
Exactly. Permission based. Exactly. Avery, was that helpful?
Yeah, super awesome. Super helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
Because here's the other thing too about, and this is our conversation, because we're here, boots on the ground, belly to belly with these communities and their sales and marketing departments. So sometimes, and I don't know how, maybe Katie, you can have a suggestion because I will actually, if depending on how well I know that sales and marketing department, my first question is can we check your database from a place for mom on this particular client that I'm about to talk about?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've got relationships such that my people will write me back and they'll say, Kate, they're in a place for mom. And I'll go, cool. It's, I'm still going to help them. When can we set up a time?
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, Micklin, go ahead.
I saw you. Thank you for the presentation. It was excellent. I was doing something before you started, but when you started speaking, I had to stop and listen. Very, very good and very, very informative. As far as your contact information, I see it here. The only thing I picked up was info, your email address. It was info@handinhandsp.com. Would that be the best way to communicate with you or?
Yeah.
phone?
I'll put my phone number in there too. I have to say, sometimes there's enough people to go around in senior placement. My thing is, again, I go into places where people need the most help, and a lot of work I do, a lot of the talks that I give, a lot of the information, that doesn't really net me a lot of clients, but it educates people. I've even worked with clients because, as you know, as realtors, all families are their own dynamic. And a lot of families are difficult. There's always one person in the family that can be difficult. And I have spent hundreds of hours with difficult people. That's where my counseling background comes in. And but what I'm saying is there's a lot of competition out there now with senior placement. And I'll be honest with you, I've been undercut by people before. I was fired once and I was the fourth referral agent. And I finally because sometimes how can I say this? Sometimes it's not dementia. There are mental health things going on. And those are the hardest ones to deal with. And I've got adult children that are on another coast. I've got people who met each other in assisted living. And there was some mental health issues going on as far as budget goes. And when I got the people the perfect thing, the gentleman had the funds to do it. The gal didn't. She was more about boasting about how much money she had. And right when we had found the perfect thing and everything was on board, she decided, don't call me again. And then the next thing I heard, she was with another colleague of mine, another referral agent. And, he called me and I said, here are all the things they want. Here's all the things they need. This is what I think the real budget is. And, I think maybe she, would be good for them to work with a man, and just left it at that. And sometimes you're not a right fit for everybody. A lot of times I get families that want to interview me for an hour, maybe two sometimes. And I always say to them, this is your choice. I'm here just to help you. But you always want that good fit. And I've been really super lucky. I will tell you, very, very lucky with all my families. They've been awesome.
I want to comment too. What you said about you want to establish a sense of trust. Along with that, I would also add compassion. You didn't have that down, but I could certainly tell that from your presentation that you have to have a lot of compassion and patience too in working with seniors. And I agree, everybody is not a great fit. Just a quick story. My daughter sees what I do, and I'm very compassionate about my clients. I love them like they're my family. She's seen the ups and the downs, and she was looking for a job, and a part-time job came up as a caregiver for somebody that she knows is a caregiver. And she said the things that she would, and I told her about ADLs and all that. And she said certain things she would not do, which is toileting.
Yep.
And she met with this lady, and she said, I don't even know why she needs a caregiver. She said she can do everything, but bottom line is she wanted the companionship.
Oh, yeah.
And my daughter was perfect for that. She brings her games. She walks with her. They talk about their pets, their love of pets and whatnot. So, I mean, I'm really proud of her because I never would have thought. I know what she does as a profession is a photographer, and she brings that compassion thing out with that. But I see it to where she's working now as a part-time job. It's great.
I tell you, it's a little seductive when I never thought I'd stay in the communities. I thought, I'll learn a few things. I absolutely fell in love with the people.
Yeah.
And then when the pandemic came, I was like literally like, I'm here to save everybody. And it was, God, I will tell you, never a more satisfying time in my life. I used to tell people I wasn't in the military. I haven't done the Peace Corps yet. This was my stepping up and helping our seniors in our country. And I tell you, if your daughter's good at that, you never know. We need people like that. I tell you, anybody that studies geriatrics right now and gerontology, we need those people.
Wow.
Everybody has their own gift.
Right.
Absolutely.
Are you located in San Jose or the Bay Area?
Yeah, San Jose. San Jose.
Great.
Yeah, give me a shout anytime.
I will. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
Anne.
Thank you for taking my call. Again, this presentation is very information to me. As a caregiver, I take care of two moms at my own home. It's a lot of work.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Wow.
it's constantly care. That's why I have the passion to actually educate people like sandwich generation like myself to
Yep.
be prepared. We never know. It's when our time comes, there's no such thing as Medicare, Medi-Cal, whatever, right? And a lot of people I talk to also try to use a loophole like transfer estate to their kids so they can get into the Medi-Cal. That is a very dangerous space to be. Because I'm also licensed in insurance, so I know what it takes. 5 years look back, all the rule. Now, moving forward, it's my time now to educate people in my community.
Yeah.
I recently create a YouTube channel specifically help downsizer in Bay Area. So
Great.
that's why I'm interested to know more resource out there that I can bring awareness to people. And I'm looking for help for partners to help me with the education. But I signed up for the certificate too, and I'm now learning to know a little bit better so that I can help people to be prepared, especially
Yeah.
those in like Asian, right? They just rely on their kids, and if the
Yeah.
kids no longer live there, not every mom's lucky like my mom's, right? Because we live there and we take care. Most of them work and move far away. How they can afford to do it? So I see the urgency, the need to help the people in my community, which is Vietnamese English community. So
Yeah, absolutely. Just reach out to me on. I'd be happy. I mean, but you are exactly it. You mentioned the sandwich generation, and preparation is everything. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I have to say, look, you've got to get your power of attorney figured out. Some people don't even know what it is. You've got to get this physician ordered life sustaining treatment called a pulse on a pink piece of paper. A lot of times elderly will keep it in the freezer because that's where the
Oh, no.
firemen will look for it in the freezer. Clean out your freezer there, Skip.
It
Or they'll
should go with the patient.
yeah, they'll
It
look for
stays
it on
with them.
a refrigerator. Make sure you have a copy of it. When my stepfather was taken to the ER a couple of years ago, the firemen wanted the DNR. So my mom went to her trust, got the binder out, took it out, said to the guy, I need this back. And guess what never came back? That document. So always have copies of trusts, know where these papers are. If you have a DNR, they will perform life-sustaining treatment. You have to have this pink thing. I experienced this with my father. Took him to the VA. All of a sudden, things went south. They put him in an ambulance to go to the VA in Palo Alto. By the time I got my car there and ran into the emergency room, he had 3 different IVs with 3 different antibiotics fighting sepsis. I said to the doctors, if he wakes up after being this sick, he's not going to be very happy. And I said, you got to take it all out. And the doctor said, yeah, we're kind of beyond that point right now, Kate. And so, it's just good to know where the paperwork is. You just got to have it.
yeah, and actually because of that, I work with the financial planner and estate planning where they can provide like a soft copy online and
Yep.
know how to do it properly so that even they forget, but they always have a way to inform the executor what's going on as long as they receive a death certificate. So there's
Yeah.
an automatic system that without relying on the homeowner, because they may not know where they put the documents, right? So we have all of that resource. It's just now I want to use my YouTube channel as a way to reach
Awesome.
out to people and share, because I can copy the link and share to people that who have questions
Perfect.
about certain things. That's what I
Yeah.
want to do to help the
Let's do
community.
it. Do it. I'm telling you, you have been living it. Let me tell you, you've been living it. There are other people living it, and they don't have either the motivation, inspiration, or education to know how to make a YouTube channel. We kind of living in Silicon Valley. We think everybody knows how to do these things that a lot of us take for granted. And when I travel outside of this little bubble we're in, I'm like, oh, you don't know how to make a website and you don't know what, an SHTTP and I'm like, yeah, this is because of all my jobs I had to do. But anyway, I support you. I think that's a brilliant idea. If you can educate your community, because first of all, if English is not their first language, it's just tough, right? And if they can't read the documents and they don't know the legalese, not even English people know the legalese a lot of time. But if you can do that, you will already gain their trust because you are also Vietnamese, right? And they will respect you because you're taking care of your mother-in-law and your mother. So you've got skin in the game, right? And that builds trust from the onset. That's awesome.
You
So
might
my
want to check
question
into,
is,
you might want
sorry
to check.
to, yeah,
ahead.
sorry to interrupt. So my question is, I always thinking about the boundary since I'm not a lawyer. And then what is a limit for me as a realtor, a real estate agent, or even insurance agent to educate people on the level that I'm not violate the rule or whatever regarding the lawyer, you know?
I'm not a legal person, but I will just tell you for myself, for my business, I have $1 million in errors and omissions insurance. My contract with the communities is that I am not responsible for the person for their health if something goes wrong. Da, 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 da. You need to make sure, and I'll tell you, this is California. You could have 65 pages of legalese. California stands by its employees and people. And that can be a good thing because sometimes things go wrong in these places and you need to have support if you feel like someone's been damaged. I think that's a good thing. But I would talk to somebody and have a disclaimer. You need a disclaimer on your website. I don't know if you've ever listened to Mel Robbins, but I kind of love Mel Robbins. And she always
I'm
has
a fan too.
yeah, I love her. She's great. And she always says, now here's the legal stuff. This is not therapy. This is not legal advice. So follow that. That's what you need to do. That's what I would do. That's what I do to protect myself, right?
That's what we have to do as realtors all the time anyway.
And
Exactly.
you should check into both the senior real estate specialist designation and the certified senior advisor, because that will be exactly the kind of work that they do with you.
Yep.
Got it. I just signed up for the course, but I don't know. They pay like close to 600, but they say that after the course, online course, they give me a certificate for serving the senior community and talk about the placement too. Because my husband just retired, and I think this is the right time for both of us to embark on a new journey of helping senior.
I'll plug CSA, Certified Senior Advisors. I will plug that right here because I did that, as many people did here. And I'll tell you, it's for $600. It's a great education. It really is good. I learned a lot. I will tell you, I've been doing this for a while and I learned a lot. And the other part that I will tell you that I love is when I have somebody who, wants to go to Georgia and they'll ask me, do you work in Georgia? And I'll say, no, really out of my scope. I'm not comfortable, but I will go onto the CSA website and look at the network who's working in Georgia, who's working around the town they want to relocate to. And I will get a couple of senior advisors and I will send them 3. I usually call the senior advisor and say, hey, look, I'm sending you somebody. I don't expect anything. I always say, could you just take care of these people? They need help. Here's kind of what's going on with the family. I'm going to give them your number. And then I'm out of it. I'm not a bookkeeper. I cannot keep track of, $5 here because someone got a caregiver an hour and blah, blah. I mean, the kind of you scratch my, give me money, I want this. I would have to be like a magician to remember all this stuff, here's your business. You do it. Send me a referral if you can. That's how I do it. Yeah.
Well, this is part of the professional reciprocity that we're building upon locally and with a far national reach. And we endeavor to do this every day with especially with our networking meetup group and such.
If you try to
Nicolyn,
do it
did you
all,
have anything
Thank
else?
you.
Your hand's still up.
I know. I did have a follow-up, and that was, well, she already answered that. You are a CSA then, Katie.
I am.
Okay, okay. I want to know your background as far as, well, you mentioned a lot of things. Did you say counseling is what you did as well?
Yeah, I started undergrad, I did human development, minored in psychology, and then I did a year with the mental health Tri-County in San Luis Obispo with schizophrenics and manic depressives.
I
And
remember you.
yeah, that was
That's why she got into real estate. She's
yeah, it fits perfectly. And then I went to graduate school and decided maybe I don't want to do pathology in that way. I thought I would go on and get a PhD. And then I was like, I don't have the money or the time to do this. And so I had a job working with children. While I went to grad school, I worked at Planned Parenthood, came to Silicon Valley, worked at Philips Semiconductors, worked on a global project. And the guy says to me, read my resume and said, work with kids? Work with schizophrenics? Yeah, this is the right job for you. We got both. I remember thinking, oh God, this is going to be time of my life. Loved it. Did the startup thing, didn't make any money, but kind of lived in that little thing before it all blew up. And then I worked in nonprofit, women's resource center, the arts. Yeah, so I've done quite a few different things. And I tell you, I've enjoyed it all. And I've learned a ton, and all of that helps me every day. I tell you, being a little bit older, being a senior placement person is actually super helpful. As I had a woman look across from me one day who had her two daughters there, and she didn't want to leave her home. And she looked at me and said, you just wait till you're 93 and someone tries to move you out of your house. I looked right back at her and I said, I have no illusions that I won't be you in the blink of an eye. I can see why. I can see how angry you are. And I think I will be too. Maybe this is not the right time for you. Maybe you just need some people in the house to help you. I said, look, I have no magic over you. You are in control of your life. And at that, she just totally relaxed and just said, well, I know I'm getting older and I had that fall. And that's how you build the trust, right? Don't be somebody you're not. You're going to be old. We're all going to die. It's, people see right through you, especially when they're older. It's, yeah, just be real with people and they'll respect you if you respect them, and don't make them sound like little kids. Don't talk to them like they're a child. It's so aggravating.
How do you base your fees? That was the other question that I had.
Yeah. So really what happens is the communities will set the fees. A lot of times they will only pay you a percentage, maybe on the room, maybe they include board and care. All board and cares, I charge them half my fee because number one, they don't have the money. They don't have the operating budget a big place has. So when you're going to these mom and pop 6-bed, 12-bed, they can't, they get held by a place for mom and just choked until they get 100% referral fee. And one of the questions they're always like, well, how much do you charge? And I'll say, well, I'm thinking like 50%. And they're like, what? Oh my God. Yeah, we'll totally work with you. And you just got to be fair with people. Yeah. Know your audience, fair.
And we were looking for Ryan's number.
Oh, Ryan's number. I know. You know what? I don't have it on me, but send me your email and
I'll connect with I'll connect with Katie. We will package Ryan up, and I will issue the information out to the group because I would love to maybe have a phone call. You can introduce us, Katie. Because I would love to bring him into our circle. That would be fabulous.
Yeah. He's a good one. He's a good one, especially, I mean, he does placement like I do, but he knows these 6 beds that are under $2,000. And I tell you, if any kind of business opportunity, we need more of these 6 beds.
This is one of, it's a middle income senior moving into that space and that they can't afford to stay home and they can't afford to go to senior living communities. So that's a whole nother segment that we deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's 12:59.
Yeah,
This was
thanks,
amazing.
guys.
Now it's at 1:00. Oh boy.
Oh my gosh.
This was amazing, Katie. Thank you so much for your time and your participation. I really appreciate it. Skip, go ahead.
Next week, we have we're going to have the air ambulance, which is going to be kind of interesting.
Oh, wow.
Do you guys know what that is? Air
No.
ambulance?
Well, it's an ambulance in the air.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Medvac. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like that, but there's a lot more. So you'll get to see.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, I
thank you.
appreciate it. Oh, thank you, Katie.
Thanks for the opportunity. If I can help you guys in any way, just give me a shout. Happy to be a resource.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Well, have a great
Excellent.
week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.